Hello everyone, this is Venom, and we are here with another tips and tricks video for Starfield. Today's video is going to be oriented at the new players that are coming to Starfield since the game has now had its official release. A lot of people are coming into it, they've avoided spoilers for the game, they've avoided anything at all for the game, so these are going to be tips dedicated to you guys. Now, we're going to be coming out of gate with something that's going to be a spoiler not spoiler. Everybody should know by now that there is a new game plus in the game. It was actually talked about by Pete Hines during one of his interviews and several afterwards. You need to know something. If you're the kind of player who's going to want to experience a new game plus, you're going to want to do the main story and avoid doing all the side quests and doing all the faction quests. If new game plus is something you're going to want to do, and that is if you're going to want to get all the items in the game, or you're going to want to experience everything there is in the game, the longer you wait to do the new game plus, I guarantee you the worse it's going to be for you. You're going to want to do the new game plus as soon as you can. You're going to want to just go ahead and just do the main story. A lot of people are going to tell you, hey, just go ahead and do things the way you want to. Do your side missions, do your side quests, and then do the new game when you want to. If you're the kind of people, or you're the kind of person who doesn't like wasting their time or losing items, new game plus as soon as you can. That's all I'm going to tell you. Now on to the other tips. Now, first off, this is going to be about installation of the game. I've seen some people that seem to have missed the memo about how you need to install the game, and to be honest, I barely got it myself. If I hadn't watched other YouTubers, I would not have known this. When you install the game, you need to be installing this on an SSD drive. If you're installing this on anything other than an SSD, you are going to have an issue running the game. I've seen people try to install this on not SSD drives, on just regular hard drives, and it's causing them to have a lot of bugs. You have to install this on an SSD. So if you have already installed it on the wrong drive, go ahead and move your files or reinstall the game, whatever you need to do, but this game must be installed on an SSD to get it to perform correctly. Now, one hot button topic about this game is the fast travel system. You do not have to get into your ship to travel in this game if you do not want to. Once you've been somewhere, you can fast travel there from the map. And even if you haven't, you don't have to go to your ship and take off to get someplace. Simply open up your map as you see me doing here. You see me here at New Homestead. I'm going to back out. I'm going to go to just a random planet over here. Let's see. A random planet I can actually land on. Let's try Deimos here. And I'm going to land on it. Didn't have to go to my ship or anything. I'm currently fast traveling to the area. Now, this is an area that isn't marked, so I can just go ahead and fast travel to it because it's going to generate it when I get here. But if I want to go someplace that is marked or that is actually pre-generated, for example, the place I was just at, New Homestead, again, open up your map, click on it, go ahead and click land. Now, for immersion purposes, if you do want to go ahead and get in your ship and take off each time and plot your courses, by all means go ahead and do so. But once you've been someplace, you do not have to get in your ship and go there again, unless the place you're at restricts fast travel. For example, some story areas do restrict fast travel. You actually have to go back to your ship, usually because it's going to be something that happens along the way from your spot you're at and the spot you're going to. So keep that in mind. You do not have to load up, because what happens is when you get into your ship, and I'm going to demonstrate it here, if you were to actually go back to your ship, load into it, go to your cockpit, get into it, take off, then decide to go someplace, it can be extremely tedious. So remember, you do not have to go to your ship each time you fast travel. Now, basic skills you should probably get in your game regardless of the run that you're going to be doing. Some basic skills that are definitely going to be needed. The jetpack, also known as boost pack training. This is what you need to get your boost pack. This is how you actually use your jump pack. If you don't have this, you cannot use it at all. It's not a matter of you can't use it very well. You're completely locked out of that system without boost pack training, so put at least 1 point into that. Next is going to be lockpicking, which is also known as security. You're going to want to put at least 1 point into that if you want to do any lockpicking at all. Now, of course, if you want to do some of the master locks, you want to get at least up to rank 3, but to get any lockpicking at all, you've got to have the security perk. Next up, targeting control. To actually take over ships and board them, you've got to be able to target the system so you can disable them. The only way to target a ship is to have the targeting control perk unlocked. If you do not have that, you cannot target the ship, which means you cannot board it. Now, speaking of skills, the security or lockpicking skill requires digipicks instead of lockpicks in this game. Unlike, say, Fallout or Skyrim, however, once you actually use your digipick, i.e. once you open a lock, it actually uses up that digipick. You don't get it back. It doesn't matter if it breaks or not. It's not like using hairpins or lockpicks. Each time you open up a lock, you use one digipick. So make sure you store up on them whenever you go to some settlement. Make sure you buy all the digipicks you can if you plan on opening up anything locked. Now, shipbuilding is a huge part of the game and a huge part of things that people are going to want to do. If you want to build a ship, you need to keep this in mind. You cannot just build a ship from scratch. You have to have a ship to start to modify. Now, once you've got a ship, whether you steal it or whether it's a ship you start off with, you can then modify it, but you can't just start from scratch. Now, once you've got the ship, you can modify it. You can actually just delete the whole ship if you want to and start from scratch building it like that, but you have to have a basic ship to actually build from, so keep that in mind. Shipbuilding is also a mid to in-game activity just because of how expensive it is, so also keep that in mind. Plus, some of the best things you can get in the game as far as parts, you're only going to be able to get once you unlock some of the ship design perks. Now, this is a Bethesda game and people are hardwired to pick up any and everything they see. However, keep something in mind. Not everything is going to be useful in this game. And just because it's a junk item does not mean it's going to be useful either. Junk cannot be broken down. In fact, typically speaking, when you scroll over an item, it will tell you if it can be used in crafting or not. Here I've got the resources I have on my ship, and you can see it says it is a component used in crafting. Now, there are two kinds of components. There are your basic resources, and there are crafting components. Both of these show in the description that they can be used for crafting. If you don't see that, it is more than likely junk, and unfortunately the junk is not really going to be useful. You can see all the junk that I have right here. None of this can be broken down. For people like me that have played things like Fallout 76 or Fallout 4, you see something like a dumbbell and you think, hey, I can take that and turn it into lead. Unfortunately, you cannot do that with this. So if you're looking for crafting items, make sure you only grab the items that say they can be used in crafting. And finally, for those of you who are going to be stealing new ships, make sure you manually search your ship for contraband before you try to go to one of the major systems. Now, unfortunately, contraband can pop up on ships that you steal. It could be a pirated ship. I'm not going to mention the factions here because that would be a bit of a spoiler. But once you take over a ship, you actually need to walk around the ship and look for contraband. It's not necessarily going to be in the hull of the ship. Now, if you have contraband in your ship and you don't want to try to bring it somewhere, you don't want to smuggle it, you need to actually toss it out of your ship. You need to actually jettison it. Now, if you have contraband on your ship, even if it's not in the cargo hold and you get scanned, that counts as a crime, so be aware of that. If you steal a ship, it may have illegal goods in it, so be aware and don't get caught with illegal goods. Now, those are going to be my few basic tips for Starfield, guys. I've got additional tips as well on my channel. Go ahead and look those up. I've got more coming as well. Once you've got a few hours into the game or once you've been playing for about a day, check out some of those other tips I have. A couple of them are listed here, but some of them were a bit more advanced tips, including some shipbuilding tips. Also, I'll be coming out with an actual shipbuilding guide here soon, as well as a few other advanced guides. So, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you all for coming by. Hope you have a good one. Please hit that sub button if you like what I'm doing. And I will see you guys in the stars.